Hi, the purpose of this video is for somebody on the Chatelaine group on Facebook, and I'm going to demonstrate how I do a dense Jessica flower. There's a Jessica flower or a Jessica stitch, but this is double that. So this is 40 stitches, so it's double the size, and I redrew the diagram from the design itself, or the instructions. I redid it because half of the stitches were covered up, and this is for the Hawaiian garden mandala, the again dense double or the double Jessica flower or dense Jessica flower. So there are 40 stitches in this flower. There are 7 sides. Starting at the first corner to the last corner are 7 holes, etc., all the way around the square. Now, each hole or each square on my diagram represents 1 hole on the linen. This is a 32 count Belfast from Zweigart. So, like I said, your first row is going to start down here, and you're going to skip the first hole, and you're going to come up in the second hole, but that's your first length of stitch. And you're going to come down in 2, but 2 is so far away, it's too far for me to navigate. So I count up and across, and I count up 1, and again, you're going to come up in all the odd numbers and down in all your even. And if you notice, you're going to have some odd numbers here, odd numbers here. So by the time you get to stitch 17, it gets a little tricky. So you're going to come up in 1, like I said, and I count over 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, 13, 15, and I go down in 2. Come up in 3, down in 4, up in 5, skip the hole above number 4 and come down in 6, up in 7, down in 8, up in 9, down in 10. And I keep this diagram, well, I don't have to anymore, but when I first started, I keep it close so that I could refer back and forth to it, because it is a little confusing. Okay. Let me just see if I could do this correct. Okay. And I'm going to demonstrate on my, I'm sorry, I'm a parker. I park my threads in my, I'm going to use this portion, which I know is going to have full coverage, and it won't, I don't think it'll matter, because I've tried this video a couple times and I can see where I've marked it. But I'm going to come in, and I hope, okay, if I stay in this area. All right. Okay, let me anchor my floss. Okay, so let's say this is square number 1. Now we're coming up in number 2. So we're going to come up in 2. I'm going to put this over here so I could, where do I want it? Right here. Okay. We're coming up in 2, so skipping the first hole. Skip the first hole. And like I said, I count 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, 13, 15, and 2. So there's the first leg of your stitch. Of course. Okay. So you're going to come up in 3, down in 4, up in 5, skip this hole, come over to 6, down in 6, up 7, down 8, up 9, down 10. Now we're skipping this hole next to 9. We're coming up in 11, down 12, up 13, down 14. Now here's where it gets tricky. Here's 15. So up 15, and here's where I hope I don't get in the way. I hold my thread. Now I'm going to come down in 16. So I'm going to skip the hole next to 14 and come down directly below it, and there's hole 16 while holding my floss. This is going to mark where hole 17 is, which we started down in 2. So now we're up in 17, down in 18, up in 19, down in 20. Now here we're going to skip. We're going to come up in 21, down in 22. Now here's where it gets tricky again, because now you're going to start to cross over down here. So we're down in 22, up in 23, and I'm holding my floss so I know I come directly up in the next hole over. 23, down in 24. I'm going to come up in 25. Now we're going to come down in 26, which we're going to skip the hole that was next to 24. Now this is stitch number 1 where we came up in initially. Now this is stitch number 26 down, and I'm going to hold both up. So I'm going to come up here in 27, and to mark my spot, I'm going to hold 27 and keep track of it. There we go. 28, down in 28. Up in 29. I hope that's right. I'm going to double check in just a second. Yeah, I'm right on. I'm right on. Up in 29. Down in 30. Up in 31, which is right. I know where my mark is. It's at the very end. I'm going to skip that hole. I'm going to come up below it. And I'm going to keep track of this here. And I'm going to go directly down here. Keeping track, keeping track. This is 32. I'm going to come up in 33. I'm going to keep track of where this thread is. Up in 33, down in 34. Up in 35. Now I'm going to skip. We're at the very end. I'm going to skip this hole. I'm going to come down in 36. Again, the next hole down is up in 37. Down in 38. Keeping track of where my hole is. Up in 39. And down in 40. And that is a dense Jessica flower. That's a dense Jessica flower. You see the 4 corners where there are empty stitches? And then here are my, oh, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to shake my cell phone too bad. Here are my dense Jessica flowers near my pineapple, which my threads are all covering, but so that is how to do it. I don't have any. And if you can kind of see here, you can kind of see the hole that was skipped here, the hole that was skipped here. There's the hole skipped here and the hole skipped here. So you should have 7 holes from skipped hole to skipped hole all the way around. And remember to skip the first hole. And that's how to do it. I hope this helps. Oh, also, what's her name? Mrs. Milky Way Kid, I think, does a regular Jessica flower or Jessica stitch. Mrs. Milky Bar Kid, I think that's the name. I'll reference it in the comments below. I hope this helped.